Hello everyone, this is Finance 101 Excel and Excel Module 1. In this video tutorial, I'm going to be demonstrating how to complete your textbook project for this module on MindTab. So as you can see here, I already have my MindTab course open, and we're going to open the course modules folder. So double click on it and go ahead and click on Excel module number 1. The first link will take you directly to the textbook reading, Module 1, so be sure to start with that. And then the second link will take you to the textbook project. I'm going to click on that link to open a set of instructions that I will have to follow step by step in order to complete this project. Be sure to read the instructions here. As you can see, we have a maximum number of submissions allowed, which is 3. We have 3 attempts to complete this project successfully. Press Start. And this will take me to a series of steps that I have to complete in order. Step number 1 is to download a file. Notice that here the instructions are to disregard your textbook instructions that ask you to create a new file or to use a file from another location. Because we're using MindTab to submit our assignments and projects, we want to make sure that we follow the instructions given here. So we want to start with this file that we're given. It's going to be a blank file as we will build this project from scratch. All right, so make sure that you start with this file that you're given. I'm going to click on it to open it up, and it will be a completely blank spreadsheet. So what I want you to do here is to save this file on your computer with the same name that you were given. You don't want to change the name. All right, so the very first time that you save a file, you want to go to File on the top menu in the ribbon, and then scroll down. You want to use the option Save As. Notice that there are 2 options, Save and Save As. The first time that you save a file, you want to Save As because you want to assign that file a name and also a destination folder. From that point on, you can just save your file. So let's go ahead and press Save As. And as you can see here on the right hand side, the name of the file was given to me. That field has already been filled out. On the left, I want to go to Browse to find a specific location where I want to save this file. So scroll up and down here, look for any particular folder where you want to keep all your projects for this course. My recommendation would be to create a folder called Finance 101 right on your desktop. So I'm going to click on Desktop and then right click anywhere here in one of the white parts, not on top of another yellow folder. Right click with your mouse, scroll all the way down and click on New. Next to there, to New, you'll see a drop down menu. We want to create a new folder. So press on that yellow folder. And as you can see, I have a blue area where I can delete that with my backspace key and just type in the name of your folder. So let's call it FIN Finance space 101, and then we're going to press Open. All right, so now I'm going to open that folder, and as you can see, that's the name that I was given for this file. Is an Excel workbook. That is the type of file, and I'm just going to press Save. All right, next, I'm going to minimize this file so I can go ahead and open the instructions. As you can see on the top right corner here, I have 3 options: an X to close the file, an overlapping square to maximize that window, and then the horizontal line to minimize it. So go ahead and press that, minimize that file, and we're going to continue with our instructions. Step 1B says project instructions. So I'm going to open that file. And for textbook projects, this link will take you straight to your textbook readings on MindTab, as we're going to follow the instructions as you're given in the module 1 in your textbook. All right, so this is what our spreadsheet will need to look like when we finish the project. And then also figure 1B shows you the chart that we're going to create in this textbook project. So now that we have saved the project, let's go ahead and minimize this window so we can go back to the instructions. On the top right corner here, you will see several options, such as that X to close that file. We want to use this horizontal line that allows you to minimize this window. When I minimize that, I'm able to see the window that has the instructions on MindTab. We're on step 1B. we're going to open this Excel Module 1 instructions. So click on that. And because this is a textbook project, this link will take you straight to Module 1 in your textbook. That's where we're getting the instructions from. As you can see, we can scroll through the pages here. Figure 1.1a will show you a screenshot of what our worksheet should look like once we complete the project. Figure 1.1b shows you the pie chart that we're also creating in this textbook project. So if you haven't read this module yet in your textbook, go ahead and read it thoroughly, very carefully. The first chapter will have a lot of definitions, concepts, and it will just allow you to identify the different parts of a worksheet. For the purposes of keeping this video tutorial relatively short, I'm just going to skip through the pages and look for those action points. You're going to be able to identify them by looking for orange squares, tiny little orange squares that have numbers. So let's keep scrolling through the pages. All right, here is the square, orange square. And by the way, if you're looking at the hard copy of your textbook, those little squares are going to be red, but they look very similar. So here is just a step that is asking you to become familiar with several parts of the Excel application and a spreadsheet. Same thing here. This is all you have to do on your own. Here's another example where the textbook is showing you the names of the different parts of the ribbon. All right, so we'll keep scrolling through the pages. And here's a section where we're going to be entering text. So first step, there we go. We have step number 1 in orange. We are going to be entering text in cell A1. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have a hard copy of the textbook, what I would recommend would be to close or minimize this window with instructions and just maximize your Excel spreadsheet. As you can see at the bottom here, I can see the icon for Excel, the green icon with the X. So I'm going to click on it to maximize the spreadsheet that I had already created. So if you have a hard copy of the textbook, you can just look at the textbook, read the instructions, and complete the steps on your spreadsheet. If you have a double screen, you can put a window with Excel on one screen and the window with the MindTap instructions on the other, so you can see them side by side. If you only have a laptop with you or only one screen on your desktop, what I would recommend you do is change the size of the window. So if you press here on the top right corner, the icon in the center that looks like an overlapping square allows you to modify the size of the window. So I'm going to select this option here, 2 windows side by side. So Excel will move to the right hand side, and then on the left here, I'm going to choose this first window where I have my MindTap instructions. So this allows me to see the 2 windows instructions and my project side by side. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. In cell A1, we want to first actually press home to be able to see the ribbon to display in the home tab. I've already done that. And then as you can see, my mouse right here is on cell B6. So that means that cell B6 is the active cell right now. How do I tell that? Because column B is in a slightly different color. As you can see, it's a darker gray or a darker shade of gray color. And then row 6 is also in the darker shade of gray. So that means my active cell right now is B6. So each of the cells names always starts with the letter that denotes the column and then a number that denotes the row. Cell B6 stands for column B, row 6. We want to start on cell A1. So click in cell A1. As you can see now, column A and row 1 are in a slightly different, darker shade of gray. A1 is my active cell. So if we follow the instructions, as you can see, A1 has a heavy border indicating that that's our active cell. And the instruction says type Frankel real estate budget in cell A1. All right, so go ahead and type that. That's going to be the title of our spreadsheet or worksheet. All right, and you can press enter. That will take you immediately to the cell right below it. So in this case, A2. Continue with the steps. Make sure that you follow all those Q&As, and also there are some experiments where they ask you to try different things just so that you can explore more options or different ways of doing something. Right, so we have that figure 119 shows you exactly what your output of that first step should look like. We've done that. We keep on going to step number 4. It says on cell A2, once it's selected, type monthly estimates. All right, so we're going to type monthly estimates. Notice that I'm capitalizing each word. And then you can press enter, which will take you automatically to the next cell below, cell A3. All right, there are some questions, different ways of performing this step. Move with the arrow to the right to the next steps. Here are some instructions on autocorrect. You can go ahead and read those. Make sure that you read them. Let's keep going. Let's look for another action point. All right, so here we're going to be entering the column titles on our spreadsheet. And again, if you ever get lost, just go and look at that first figure on your module so that you know what your worksheet should look like when you complete the project. It says click on cell A3. All right, so that's my active cell right now, A3. Type income to begin entry of a column title in that active cell. So we're going to type income, capital I. All right, there we are. Now it says press the right arrow to enter the column title and make the cell to the right the active cell. So usually I press enter after typing text in a cell that takes me to the cell right below it. But if I press the arrow to the right, the right arrow, it takes me now to the cell right next to it. This would be cell B3, column B, row 3. All right, let's see what comes next. So we have income, and it says now go ahead and enter the word January in cell B3. I misspelled that, January. Right arrow. Next, we want to enter February in cell C3. All right, and we can continue on all the way to December. Now, let me show you a little trick. So Excel is pretty smart when it comes to guessing what you're trying to do. So since I've already entered 2 months, what I can do is I'm going to highlight those 2 cells, just clicking with your mouse, your left click on your mouse. And do you see that darker dot on the bottom right corner of the February cell C3? If I grab that with my left click and drag it to the side, Excel is going to guess what I'm trying to do. So you can see the months are shown there. So I'm going to go all the way to December, which should be on cell M3 as my instructions. All right, so that is, it's called using the fill handle, where I drag that corner, bottom right corner, that tiny little darker square, and you can drag it to copy and paste the cell, or in this case, to let Excel guess what I wanted to enter in the next cells. All right, keep reading the instructions. December is in cell M3, and then we're gonna enter the text total in cell N3. So let's go ahead and keep scrolling to the right. And now I'm going to enter here total. All right, you can press enter or the arrow left. And let's keep looking at the instructions. Next says click cell 8A to select it. All right, so let's look for 8A8. And we're going to enter the word expenses. Arrow to the right, and then January, February, and so on. So do January, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I can just type 1 month, January, grab that bottom right corner, use the fill handle to drag that to the right and all the way to column M, row 3. So there we are, all the way to December. And then the instructions say to enter the word total in cell N3, N8, right? All right, so I think we finished all the steps up to figure 123. Look at your figure, I compare it. Does mine look like figure 123? Yes, so I am all set up to this point. Let's go to the next page to see what the next step is. All right, so in our next section, we have to enter our row titles. And I see an orange square there with my action point. I'll click cell A4 to select it. All right, so I'm going to click on cell A4, type commission, and then click cell A5 or press the down arrow. All right, so you can press enter or the down arrow to move on to the next cell right below where we type commission. And let's scroll down through the instructions. It says repeat step 1 to enter the remaining row titles in column A. That is, enter interest in cell A5, total in cell A6. And then we have to move to rent in cell A9, utilities in cell A10, advertising in cell A11, website in cell A12, printing in cell A13, office supplies in cell A14, gas in cell A15, and miscellaneous in cell A16, total in cell A17. And then it says in cell A19, we're going to type net. That's where we're going to calculate the difference between our income, our sources of income, and our expenses. So as you can see here, we're creating a real estate budget for this company. We have the monthly estimates of the different sources of income, commission, interest, and the total from January to December. And then we're also estimating our expenses, rent, utilities, advertising, etc. from January to December. So our goal is to calculate the net income minus expenses for every month. Let's go ahead and start entering the numbers or the values in our spreadsheet. So I'm going to click to the next page and see what numbers we need to enter for each row, for each category. All right, so it says click on cell B4 under commission January, and we're going to type 12,000 and right arrow to enter the next value. All right, I'm going to let you all this to fill it out on your own, and then I'm going to show you some cells that have the same value for every month, so I can show you how to easily copy those. But the first row, commission, is a different value every month, so I'm going to let you fill those out. The next one is interest, and it's 100, so I'm going to press 100. I'm going to show you how to copy this cell. I could really just drag that bottom right corner and carry it to the side, or another option is to use the shortcut. Press Ctrl+C on your keyboard, and then we're going to highlight with our mouse, left click on your mouse, all the cells all the way till December, and then just press Ctrl+V as in Victor with your keyboard. As you can see, we have copied that value all the way from February to December. All right, next we're going to enter the values for rent. Rent is $1,500. And it is the same value for every month. So I can again use Ctrl+C to copy, Ctrl+V, or I can just grab that bottom right corner and drag that value all the way to December. Right, let's go ahead and move to utilities. Utilities is $325, and it is the same value. So we can copy it to the right all the way till December. And I'm moving back to the left with my left arrow. Advertising on cell B11 is equal to 400, and it is the same value. Let's practice with Ctrl+C again. So press on cell B11, Ctrl+C, then go ahead and with your mouse, left click, select all those cells from February to December for that one particular row, row 11, and press Ctrl+V. All right, website is 0 until June. So we're gonna copy that until June. And then in July, it is 500. And then we have 0 again, all the way till December. So let's copy that value all the way to December. Move left with your arrow, printing, and I misspelled that, so we're gonna fix that. All right, printing, it is 200 every month. So drag that value and copy and paste it to December. Then office supplies has an interesting pattern. It's 200 in January and then 0 in February and 0 in March. So look what I can do here. I don't want to be copying those 2 zeros and then the 200. So, but I see a clear pattern, 200 in 1 month and then 0 for 2 months. And that pattern is repeated all throughout. So what I can do is highlight those 3 cells, press Ctrl C, click on the next available cell, E14, and then press Ctrl V. And Excel is going to paste those 3 values. And then I can keep moving to the right to continue with that pattern, 200, 0, 0. All right, so there we are all the way to December. Next we have gas. It's 100 and it is the same value. And then we have 250. Look what I'm going to do here. Since those 2 values are repeated, I'm going to grab those 2 values and then copy them to the right. I'm going to do 2 rows at a time. See, so little by little, I'll be showing you how to do things more efficiently. So if the same value had been repeated for every row, I could have just entered the first column, grab that first column, and then copy that formula all the way to December. That would have made my work a lot more efficient. I have already entered all the values for the commission category as they were all different for every month. So I've already completed the task. I'm going to go ahead and maximize the Excel spreadsheet just so that I can see it full size. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see the numbers a little bit bigger. I am using this option on the bottom right corner. You can adjust here with the plus and the minus sign in order to zoom in or to zoom out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so that I can see all the months from January to December and the totals at the end. So now we're going to start doing some fun things using functions to calculate totals. So let's go ahead and click on cell B6. We are going to calculate the total income for the month of January. So there are a couple of options here. We can use the auto sum function, which is under the editing category on our ribbon. And as you can see here, it has a summation sign. If I click on the drop-down menu, there are actually several functions under this icon. The first one is sum, but we have average, count numbers, maximum, minimum, etc. We want to use the sum function. So I'm going to click on sum, and Excel will assume that I want to add up all the rows that I have just above the cell in which I'm entering my output, which is cell B6, right? So it's suggesting that we want to sum cells B4 and B5. The numbers that you see in parentheses, or the cell references that you see in that parentheses, B4 to B5, it's called the range. Is that a range of cells that we're going to be adding with this function? So B4 is the first cell, and that matrix B5 will be the last one. So we can just go ahead and press enter, and that would give me the total. Another alternative, let me go ahead and click on that cell again, press backspace with your keyboard. I'm going to do the exact same thing in a different way, just so you can see the different options. I'm going to press the equal sign. This is in general how we enter a formula or a function with Excel. You can press here FX next to the equal sign, which allows you to insert a function and look for that sum function under a drop-down menu. However, I already know that the function that I need is called sum, so I can just type it, sum, open parentheses, and here I can either type B4 colon B5, as that is the range that I need, or I could also just use my mouse left click to select those 2 cells, B4 and B5. You can see them, the values already on the formula bar. So on the formula bar, B4 to B5, close that parentheses and press enter. All right, so let's go ahead and do it for the expenses as well. We're going to press the equal sign, type sum, open parentheses, and I'm going to highlight, select all the cells with the left click on your mouse from rent to miscellaneous. So from cell B9 to B16. And I can close the parentheses on my formula bar, press enter. I could have calculated that with the AutoSum function as well. So now that I've calculated the total sources of income for January and the total expenses for January, we want to calculate the same totals for every other month. We could go ahead and enter the sum function under each of those columns. However, a much more efficient way of doing this would be to use the fill handle to copy a cell into adjacent cells. So what this means is that we're going to click on cell B6 to make that our active cell and move the mouse to the bottom right corner. Once you see that black cross, that means that you can go ahead and drag that cell to the destination cells. Those are the ones where we want to copy the formula, and then release your mouse all the way to December, release the mouse. As you can see, all those totals are automatically calculated. Let's go ahead and click on the cells just to make sure that the formulas have been copied correctly. So first click on cell B6. Let's check that formula. As you see on the formula bar, it says sum of B4 to B5. B4 to B5 is the range, and Excel uses something called a relative reference, meaning that if we move on to the next output, cell C6, now the function is sum from C4 to C5. So it copied that sum function, but it changed the cells from B4 to B5 to C4 to C5 because Excel knows that we want to be adding the two rows that are right above the cell in which we have entered our output. If we could keep moving to the right, let's move to March, cell D6. You'll see that the function now is sum from D4 to D5, and in April is E4 to E5, and so on. So that is called relative reference, and we'll be learning a lot more about that in Module 2. Let's go ahead and click on cell C17. This time we want to calculate the total expenses for all the other months. We can do the exact same thing. So instead of entering the sum function in this cell, I'm going to click on cell B17 to make that the active cell, move the mouse to the bottom right corner until you see that black cross, and then click with your mouse, left click, drag that formula to the right. Once you get to December, release your mouse, and all those totals are automatically calculated. I'm going to click on cell C17 just to make sure that that relative reference is working properly. So sum of C9 to C16 is what I see in the formula bar. So that is correct. It's adding all the expenses in column C, in March, in column D, and so on. All right, let's go ahead and now we're going to move to the right of our sheet because we want to calculate the totals by category on column N. So I'm going to press the equal sign, and let's see if the AutoSum function works by when we want to add by columns, right, on the same row. So let's press the AutoSum function and press enter. There we go. So it is suggesting that we add cells B4 to M4, which is January to December. So just enter, and you can go ahead and drag that formula to the other rows. We're going to do the same under the expenses. So go ahead and press the AutoSum, and it's adding from B9 to M9. That is correct. Press enter, and we can use the fill handle to copy to the other rows as well. The AutoSum function can also be applied to multiple cells. So I'm going to show you another way in which we could have done the same exercise. I'm going to delete those cells that we just calculated, and this time I'm going to use the AutoSum function, but I'm going to do it to multiple cells. So I'm going to select cells N9 to N17 where I want to calculate all those totals. Once I have those cells highlighted, I will press the auto sum function, and you'll see that the totals will be automatically calculated for all the cells at the same time. You can click on the cells once again and scroll down through them just to make sure that the correct cells have been applied. So we have from column B to column M for each row from 9 to 17. So that is correct. All right, I'm going to move to the left again of our worksheet because we want to calculate the net value, which will be the difference between our total income and our total expenses. So let's go ahead and click on cell B19, and we're going to enter a function here. We're going to do it manually this time because we want to calculate the difference between cell B6 and B17, where we have entered our total income and our total expenses for the month of January. So I'm going to press the equal sign, and here I can type the names of the cell B6, minus cell B17, right, and press the equal sign to get our answer. Or alternatively, I'm going to delete it just so that I can show you another way. I can press the equal sign. I can just simply click on the cells. So click on cell B6, press the minus sign with your keyboard, and then click on cell B17. Right, we press the we press enter. That gives me the answer. And now I can go ahead and calculate the net for every month as well. So let's go ahead and find that cross on the bottom right corner, and we're going to drag it to the right hand side just so that we can calculate the totals under every column for each month. All right, so this is a good time to take a break. We want to save our workbook. As we have done several steps, we want to make sure that we save our work. So since we have already used the save as function, which gave our file a name and a saving location, this time I'm just going to click on File, top left corner, and then Save. And it'll go to the folder we had saved it already, which was Desktop and folder Finance 101.